Good morning. My name is Trey Apfel. I'm the Executive Director of the State Bar of Texas. This is the public hearing on the State Bar of Texas proposed budget for fiscal year 2021-2022. Notice of this hearing was published in the Texas Register and in the March 2021 issue of the Texas Bar Journal. This hearing was scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. I now have 9:01. And since there are no members of the public present, I now declare this meeting ready to go forward. A copy of the proposed budget is available on the State Bar of Texas website under the Our Finances page. As you can see, the proposed general fund budget includes revenues and receipts from revenues of $45,071,583 and has an equal amount of expenditures, transfers out, and proposed board commitments. Receipts from reserves includes excess funds from the prior year's financial operations and will equal the total amount of board commitments intended to be spent in the current fiscal year. And this results in a balanced budget. When comparing the current proposed general fund budget for fiscal year 2021 and 2022 to the adopted budget for fiscal year 2020-2021, both revenues and expenditures have decreased by 6%. When comparing the operating budget of the State Bar, the operating revenues and expenditures are budgeted to decrease by approximately $1 million or 2%. The decrease in both revenues and expenditures is primarily due to a reduction in non-dues revenues as we recover from the pandemic and a decrease in payroll-related costs. 3 annual transfers are included in the general fund budget. Section 3.08 of our board policy manual requires the first 2 annual transfers. The first is a $288,800 annual transfer to the building fund, which is a capital projects fund used to replace capital equipment at the law center. The next is a $500,000 transfer to our client security fund. This transfer is $200,000 above the minimum annual transfer required by our board policy manual. A $500,000 annual transfer to the technology fund is also included, and that will be used to lease and maintain the bar's computer equipment and printers, and will also fund the purchase of software and software maintenance agreements. One of the budget committee's duties each year is to make a recommendation to the board regarding the commitment of any increase in the fund balance resulting from the previous year's financial activities. The audit for fiscal year 1920 has been completed, and the total amount available for commitment by the State Bar Board is $4,333,072 for the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget. Of this amount, $3,366,405 comes from the excess funds from the fiscal year 2019-2020 financial operations, and $966,667 is a redesignation of 2 prior year board commitments. The Budget Committee is recommending several board commitments. The first of which is a commitment of $1,500,000 to minimum reserves. This will increase our minimum reserves from 2.1 months to 2.5 months of operating expenditures, bringing our total amount held in reserves to $9,140,350. Excuse me. The next item is a commitment of $250,000 to raise the balance maintained in our legal reserve account. This is primarily a reserve we hold for payments to outside legal counsel and this will bring our total reserve to an amount of $350,000. The next item is a commitment of $25,000 to raise the balance maintained as a reserve for future presidential initiatives to approximately $200,000. The balance in the presidential initiatives account is not reflective of money to be spent in any given year, but is maintained to ensure that money is set aside and available for future initiatives. The next item is a commitment of $400,000 to our client security fund. This commitment will be funded at the rate of $200,000 for each of the next 2 fiscal years, 2021, 2022, and again, 2022, 2023. In addition to the $500,000 annual transfer from the general fund described earlier, this commitment would make the amount available for payment of claims equal to $700,000. The next item is a commitment of $114,674 to fund payment of additional insurance expenses. This commitment helps to ensure that the bar has appropriate and adequate insurance coverage in place. The next item is a commitment of $15,000 set aside to host the ABA Young Lawyers Division Summit event. The next item is a commitment of $515,000 for the Texas Access to Justice Foundation's Student Loan Repayment Assistance Program. The board has funded the student loan repayment program at this level for the last 10 years. Attorneys are eligible for this program if they work full-time for Texas legal aid programs that meet certain requirements. The next item is a commitment of $513,398 to the State Bar's Technology Fund. This commitment will fund in part purchase and maintenance of the State Bar's technological hardware and software, including computers, printers, software, and software maintenance upgrades. In addition, it will fund special capital projects, including the procurement of a new Chief Disciplinary Counsel case management software. The next item is a commitment of $500,000 for operations of the Lavaca building. This commitment will maintain a 2-year reserve account for operating expenses anticipated with building operations. Anticipated expenses include utilities, security, maintenance, and other operating expenses. The next item is a $500,000 commitment set aside for renovation and repair of the Lavaca building. The exact amount needed for these renovations and repairs are as yet to be determined. However, this reserve will provide funds to cover these expenses as they become necessary. This concludes my presentation of the State Bar of Texas proposed budget for fiscal year 2021-2022. Are there any questions that we have?
No, there have not been any questions.
The proposed budget of the State Bar of Texas for fiscal year 2021-2022 was presented to the public and a discussion was held. The proposed budget will be submitted to the Board of Directors in April for consideration, and a report will be provided on the questions or comments of this public hearing. I now declare this hearing closed. Thank you.